Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new day of Road to TCG World 2019. We are continuing with our post-rotation format decks. These are intended to be played in the Worlds format. These are my first initial rough drafts of decks, which I hope you guys will find interesting. I am looking forward to trying them out, playing with them, and seeing what improvements I can make. Of course, this list is based off of the Green's Reshiram that has been doing so successfully in the current standard format, or the previous standard format. Did get 9th place at the North American International Championship, so a really cool approach to the deck. It is based off of Green's Exploration, and not much changes for the new set. I think the deck actually gains a couple of interesting options that really make it stand out from the current iteration, which are Cherish Balls, the Giant Furnace Stadium, but especially the Reset Stamp. So we have the 4 Volcanion. Flare Starter makes going second not that bad of a deal. Even if you go first, you get greens, you get Welder, so the deck has a lot of options. You do run 4 tag teams, so half the time you'll start with a tag team, the other half you will start with a Volcanion. Not a terrible idea either way, but I do think you do want to start with a Volcanion that is a little bit better, just so that you have access to the non-GX attacker, you have access to Flare Starter, and you have access to some early pressure with High Heat Blast. Now, Reshiram, of course, a super powerful attack, one of my favorite tag teams so far. Does a lot of damage with Outrage, and the fact that there's no more Guzma means playing around Outrage is actually going to be more difficult than before. We also have Flare Strike dealing 230 damage, which is actually not enough anymore, because before you had Choice Band and maybe Professor Kukui to get to those high numbers. Now 230 damage is not quite enough to one-hit KO pretty much anything. There is merit to playing Shrine of Punishment so that you can one-hit KO Pegram if that ends up being the deck to beat. Shrine of Punishment could be teched in order to try and beat that deck with the artificial damage modifier. In the damage counter, it also hits you, but no more Tapu Koko GX does mean Reshiram is a bit safer usually than before. Double Blaze GX, a really powerful attack. Getting those 6 energies now that there's no Kiawe is also going to be pretty difficult, but not impossible. And yeah, overall a pretty strong card. It also features Evian Snorlax GX as another option. There's no more Zoroark GX, so Dump Truck Press not as powerful as before, but the card in general can be good, and it does give the deck a different sort of weakness than before. Now, Green's Exploration is the main way we are going to try and set up and get the right cards at the right time, namely the custom catchers to target Pokemon, but also finding things like Power Plant, things like Reset Stamp. Imagine a turn where you're gonna KO something in the active, and then you play a Power Plant and you Reset Stamp them down to, I don't know, 3 or 2 cards. That's gonna be pretty hard to recover from, which is really good for this deck because Reshiram can just sometimes overwhelm opponents by having the super powerful, super strong attacks. Builds Analysis, Welder, Green's Exploration, the one-off Lieutenant Surges once again, for Pokegears to make sure that we are finding the right supporters early on. It's basically like playing extra copies of Welder or Greens, which we do need on turn 1. For Cherish Ball, in order to find the Reshiram, finding Volcanion not that big of a priority, but finding Reshiram definitely a priority. Pokemon communication not great in this set, or in this deck, because of the low amount of Pokemon that we do play. 8 is very, very low, so your chance of holding a Pokemon are not very high. Unfortunately, there's no other way to search for basic Pokemon, non-GX ones rather. So that is a potentially big issue for the deck in case you need to do a follow-up attack with a Volcanion. Mixed Herbs and Custom Catchers, the pair cards, Greens allows you to find the missing pair or just grab a pair to get the effects. Mixed Herbs allows you to heal yourself, not only damage but also special conditions. There is a great potion that is getting released as well, which heals 50 damage if you play 2, you're healing 100. If you play 2 Mixed Herbs, you're healing 90. So that 10 damage sometimes matters, sometimes it might not. But having the ability to remove special conditions, remove confusion from Blacephalon's GX's Bursting Burn could be important. So that's why I prefer the Mixed Herbs. Fire Crystal, triple Fire Crystal allows you to recover energy so that you can keep on weldering. Gives you flexibility in terms of what you discard with Heat Factory, or when you discard with Heat Factory, but also the Giant Furnace. You can discard a fire, grab 2, because then you can get those fire backs. Also, those fires back. That means that you'll likely never miss an energy drop with this list, with those 3 fire crystals and 13 fire energies, which is really awesome. And then we have the reset stamps, as I mentioned, combined with power plant. That's going to be really powerful. We have 2 switches to make sure that we can potentially Flare Starter if we need to on turn 1. And that is the deck. Yeah, it's a very aggressive deck. We are trying to overwhelm our opponents through the use of early pressure from Volcanion after we are powered up. And then the follow-up Reshiram. The Lieutenant Surge opens up a lot of really cool possibilities if timed well, because we can do things like double welder, which would actually be insane to pull off. Just a double welder, get 6 energies on Reshiram, and retaliate with a 300 damage double blaze GX out of the blue. Yeah, I'm sure it's not gonna be common, but it is a very cool option to have. We could also see a double greens exploration to just find something like 4 mixed herbs, heal 180 damage out of the blue. We could also find 2 custom catchers and 2 mixed herbs to heal and target down the right Pokemon. Or we could find something like double custom catcher, KO the right Pokemon, plus a power plant, plus a reset stamp to eliminate a threat, eliminate our opponent's hand, and eliminate abilities in general. So the possibilities are endless. It's all about having the Lieutenant Surge strategy at the right time to be able to pull that off. Reset stamp does mean that accumulating cards in your hand will probably not be too likely, because I do expect every single deck to be playing reset stamp in at least a 2 of, if not higher numbers. So that is going to be an issue, but the format should slow down a little bit. I don't think we're gonna see like decks taking prizes since turn 1 and stuff, like we are used to with the current standard format. So that should help. Slowing down things means reset stamp will not be as powerful in the early game, but late game, a well-timed reset stamp, or the timing of the reset stamp, adds skill to the game. But I also think reset stamp takes out a little bit of skill from the game, purely because, like, if you build a lead, right, your opponent might just make a comeback based off the fact that not because they made the right decisions, but because you ended up dead drawing, right, off of the 1 or 2 cards you draw with reset stamp. And you can even combine reset stamp with Mars to take away even more cards from their hand. So I don't know, there's skill in the timing of the reset stamp, but there is also skill being taken away, because no matter how well you played the early game and how well you prepared, or you tried to prepare to beat your opponent, if you draw the wrong combination of cards in the late game due to reset stamp, then you are going to be in a lot of trouble. 13 basic energy means you have energy pretty much every turn, as I mentioned. And this deck, it's pretty squared, yeah, as all decks should be in the beginning of a new format. You want your deck to perform the same thing over and over, and then eventually you figure out the tech cards, right? So something like Hoopa, something like Tabufini, those cards can be considered in such a list, but you do want to be careful with over-teching, especially in the beginning when you are trying to learn the ins and outs of any given format. So yeah, that will be all for post-rotation Reshiram, guys. If you're enjoying these videos, let me know. If you want to see something different, let me know. I'm always looking for suggestions. If you have a different build for Reshiram, I would love to see it. I do want to build a Reshiram based on drawing extra cards with Zalazzle. I think Zalazzle is going to be a pretty powerful tool for fire decks, but it's getting those basic Pokemon that can be difficult. But anyways, that will be a whole other video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to leave a like, and I will catch you guys in our next video. Bye bye.